जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 राम राम जय राधा मदन मोहन राधे जय 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 जगन्नाथ जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 निताय गौर प्रेमानंद हरि हरि बोल। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजक अष्टोत्तर चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभात की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, Text 45, chapter entitled Prithu Maharaj meeting with the four Kumaras. We'll recite together this text and we'll read the translation and purport given by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and we'll discuss on that. सेनापत्यं च राज्यं च दण्डनेतृत्वमेव च सर्वलोकाधिपत्यं च वेदशास्त्रविदर्हति। सेनापत्यं च राज्यं च दण्डनेतृत्वमेव च सर्वलोकाधिपत्यं च वेदशास्त्रविदर्हति। सेनापत्यं च राज्यं च दण्डनेतृत्वमेव च सर्वलोकाधिपत्यं च वेदशास्त्रविदर्हति। सर्वलोकाधिपत्यं च वेदशास्त्रविदर्हति। सेनापत्यं च राज्यं च दण्डनेतृत्वमेव सर्वलोकाधिपत्यं च वेदशास्त्रविदर्हति। पत्यं दण्डमेत्रत्वमेव च सर्वलोकाधिपत्यं च वेदशास्त्रविदर्हति. Anybody else want to know? So we'll read word to word meaning. Sainapatyam, post of commander in chief. Cha, and Rajyam, post of rural over the kingdom. Cha, and Danda, ruling. Netratvam, leadership. Eva, certainly. Cha, and Sarva, all. Lokadipatyam, proprietorship of the planet. Cha, and Veda Shastravit, one who knows the purport of Vedic literature. Arhati, deserves. Translation. Since only a person who is completely educated according to the principles of Vedic knowledge deserves to be commander in chief, ruler of the state, the first to chastise and the proprietor of the whole planet, Prithu Maharaj offered everything to the Kumaras. Please repeat. Since only a person who is completely educated according to the principles of Vedic knowledge deserves to be commander in chief, ruler of the state, the first to chastise and the proprietor of the whole planet, Prithu Maharaj offered everything to the Kumaras. Purport. In this verse, it is very clearly stated that a kingdom, state, or empire must be governed under the instructions of saintly persons and Brahmanas like the Kumaras. When monarchy ruled throughout the world, the monarch was actually directed by a board of Brahmanas and saintly persons. The king, as the administrator of the state, executed his duties as a servant of the Brahmanas. It was not that the kings or Brahmanas were dictators, nor did they consider themselves proprietor of the state. The kings were also well versed in the Vedic literature and thus were familiar with the injunction of Sri Ishopanishad, Ishavashyam idam sarvam. Everything that exists belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord Krishna also claims that he is the proprietor of all planetary system, Sarvaloka Maheswaram. Since this is the case, no one can claim to be proprietor of the state. The king, president, or head of the state should always remember that he is not the proprietor but the servant. In the present age, the king or president forgets that he is the servant of God and thinks of himself as servant of the people. The present democratic government is proclaimed to be a people's government, a government by the people and for the people. But this type of government is not sanctioned by the Vedas. The Vedas maintain that a kingdom should be governed for the purpose of satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead and should therefore be ruled by a representative of the Lord. The head of a state should not be appointed if he is bereft of all Vedic knowledge. In this verse, it is clearly stated, Veda Shastra Vid Arhati, that all high government posts are especially meant for persons who are well conversant with the teachings of the Vedas. In the Vedas, there are definite instructions defining how a king, commander in chief, soldier, and citizen should behave. Unfortunately, there are many so called philosophers in the present age who give instruction without citing authority, and many leaders follow their unauthorized instructions. Consequently, people are not happy. The modern theory of dialectical communism, set forth by Karl Marx and followed by communist governments, is not perfect. According to Vedic communism, no one in the state should ever starve. Presently, there are many bogus institutions which are collecting funds from the public for the purpose of giving food to starving people. But these funds are invariably misused. According to the Vedic instructions, the government should arrange things in such a way that there will be no question of starvation. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that a householder must see to it that even a lizard or a snake does not starve. They also must be given food. In actually, however, there is no question of starvation because everything is the property of the Supreme Lord and He sees to it that there is ample arrangement for feeding everyone. In the Vedas, Kathopanishad 2.2.13, it is said, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kaman. The Supreme Lord supplies the necessities of life to everyone, and there is no question of starvation. If anyone starves, it is due to the mismanagement of the so called ruler, governor, or president. It is clear, therefore, that a person who is not well versed in the Vedic injunction, Veda Shastra with, should not run for election as president, governor, etc. Formerly, kings were Rajarishis, which meant that although they were serving as kings, they were as good as saintly persons because they would not transgress any of the injunctions of the Vedic scriptures and would rule under the direction of great saintly persons and Brahmanas. According to this arrangement, modern presidents, governors, and chief executive officers all are all unworthy of their posts because they are not conversant with Vedic administrative knowledge and they do not take direction from great saintly persons and Brahmanas. Because of his obedience to the orders of the Vedas and Brahmanas, King Vena, Prithu Maharaj's father, was killed by the Brahmanas. Prithu Maharaj therefore knew they very well that it behooved him to rule the planet as the servant of saintly persons and Brahmanas. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणम्। श्री गौर निताय की जय, श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन जी की जय, श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई। Hare Krishna. I seek the blessings from His Grace Anandmay Prabhu and all the Vaishnavas sitting here to speak on the topic of this Bhagavatam. So please bless me. Thank you very much. So we are discussing Prithu Maharaj meeting four Kumaras. And we see Prithu Maharaj himself is a Satyavesh avatar. Kumaras, they are also the sons of Brahma. They are well versed. Saint and Brahmanas, here Prabhupada mentioned, Brahmanas like the Kumaras. So when these two great personalities meet, what is going to come? So they will discuss only nectarian. So Machita Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Katayantascha Mam Nitya Tushyanti Charamanti Cha. So they will discuss about the Lord only. And and they will be, they themselves will be satisfied and they make others satisfied, give them. So here we see Prabhupada is given the long purport, and so when Prabhupada explains about this Bhagavatam contextually and contemporarily, even the most difficult subject like Bhagavatam become easily understandable and practical. It's like the same on Bhagavatam, earlier acharyas have also written, but they wrote as contemporarily as per their time. When we see here communism, Karl Marx, all these were not there at that time. So they have used it different because according to their period they spoke. But you see the same topic, Prabhupada is speaking, taking the present context and in the present context actually. And now the topic is here Senapatyam cha rajyam cha danda netratvam cha. Who is deserved to be a leader, ruler, commander in chief, any authority, any responsible position? The qualifications for such people are mentioned here, actually. What is the qualification? He should be Veda Shastra Vit. Veda Shastra Vit. So, one who knows the purport of Vedic literature, not knowing only the Vedic hymns, should know the purport. What is the purpose of Vedas actually? That's why we see here there is a translation and there is a purport. Translation we cannot understand fully unless the purport is given. Purport gives the elaborate explanation of the text actually. So, what is the, suppose one who is learned in Veda Shastra Vid, what is that he is going to get? What is there in Vedas? Vedas are there in the Karma Kand, Jnana Kand, Upasana Kand are there. But what is the purpose? There, that one who always remember that he is not the proprietor. He is the servant of Lord. That is the purpose we get from Vedas. And one's duty is to serve the Lord. That is the Vedas. The purport of Vedas is this only. So many subject matters are there and all these things are there. But the purport is this only. Here Prabhupada emphasis on this. So this is a simple and truth which cannot be denied actually. But if this simple truth is forgotten or not accepted, all complexity starts actually. So, and Prabhupada very specifically here mentioning present age is like this. People have forgotten that uh, that people means including us. We are all servant of the Lord, and we have to serve the Lord, and we have to do our duties according to the instructions of Vedas, saintly persons, Brahmanas, to satisfy the Lord and to please the Lord. Lord is pleased, everyone is pleased. That is the mula. That is the purport of the Vedas are there. So outcome, when the people forgets this, what is the outcome? Prabhupada also mentions this in this. eh? So instead of becoming servant of Lord, they start becoming servant of people, which here Prabhupada mentioned about the democracy actually. And so with this, purpose of satisfying the Lord is lost. When we think we are serving the people without we knowing that we are servant of the Lord, the purpose is lost. So then what happens? They satisfy their own false ego. There is a problem. They become the proprietor. We are not the proprietor. We are not the controller. We are not we are not the enjoyer. We are servant actually. This very simple truth. If it is forgotten, so much problem is there actually in that. So what is the outcome is coming? Democracy. Democracy means government by the people and for the people, but no where the Lord's pleasure is there, or we are the servant of Lord, servant of people. That's why Prabhupada says democracy means democracy, like that also. What is the demoniac mentality? Forgetting that we are the servant of the Lord. Then person start becoming, developing demoniac mentality. First he become a disobedient, then disrespectful, like then, and disordered means not following the instructions. Like that, it become the rebelliousness, demonic mentality develops. And also Prabhupada mentions about dialectical communism, giving the reference of Karl Marx. There is a communism. Communism means this belong. This is one uh, thought process where we see that everything belongs to us. We should all share and become happy. There is again demonic mentality. This is that these things, all the things belong to Lord. That is forgotten actually. That is dialectical communism. That is developed by Karl Marx. There is a history. We are not going, many people know about this actually. And also Prabhupada mentioned about many philosophers. Prabhupada mentioned about so-called philosophers in the present age who give instructions without citing authority. They see that they are the persons who are giving all the guidance and everything. And many leaders follow their unauthorized instructions. When we don't accept the Lord and we don't accept ourselves as a servant of the Lord, all is unauthorized. There is no Vedas means Veda. What is this? Veda Shastravit means we are working under authority. Under authority. And many leaders follow their unauthorized instructions. Consequently, people are not happy. They are philosophers, leaders, this community that trying to make others happy. They are posing themselves as they want all to be happy. But they themselves are not happy. And how the others can be happy actually. So that with this not accepting the simple truth that we are not the proprietor, we are servant of the Lord, all bad results starts coming actually. Bad results in the face, starvation. People are not getting food. And why? Mismanagement. Though people think that they are leadership position, they want others to make happy, but because of this mentality, demoniac mentality developed by not accepting the Lord as the authority and not accepting themselves as the servant of the Lord, this all crazy idea comes, these all hoardings and then making themselves more means greed develops actually. This is one thing is there actually. And also all mismanagement happens. Those who are in the controlling positions, they mismanage the things actually. And misuse of funds and resources also happen. One simple truth not accepting also. Whereas Prabhupada is mentioning that Lord has provided food, enough food for everyone. Eko bahunam yo vidadati kama. Lord also says, Isavashyam idam sarvam. Means everything is Isavashyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Whatever we are seeing is the property of the Lord actually. And also Sarvaloka Maheswaram. He is the proprietor of all entire universe, all planets actually. So, so because of this, people and praja, those people in general are unhappy actually. And why? Because they follow blindly to this unauthorized persons, those who are not following the Vedas. Hmm. Therefore, Prabhupada declares modern rulers are all unworthy of post. This is whoever is present in the ruler position now in the entire world, they are unworthy of post unless they are Veda Shastra Vid. If they are not Veda Shastra Vid, they are not following the authority of Vedas, they are mentioning unworthy of post. He is mentioning so boldly actually. That's why we see how this uh, Bhagavatam we are able to understand in a simple manner because of Prabhupada actually. He is giving the all because they are ungratefully disobedient to Vedas and Brahmanas. That is the root cause. Why person become demoniac means if a person is ungrateful and disobedient, both. One is not obedient, not accepting the authority of the Lord, and on the contrary, becoming ungrateful, becoming envious of Lord. Ungrateful means if forgetting the Lord. Asuya, developing asuya. The product of ungratefulness, the ungratefulness comes from asuya. Developing the enviousness towards the Lord, not accepting Lord as the Lord actually. This is the thing. Whereas Prabhupada is giving solution also. In contrast to this, he is telling Vedic communism actually. So Vedic communism, where it is given, ruled by Rajarishis. Here we see is that Prithu Maharaj, even though he is a Satyavasi, he is acting as a Rajarishi. Raj means ruler. Rishi means those who are Shastravit and those who follow the instructions of saintly persons and Brahmanas. They are called Rajarishis actually. So, what happened in this Vedic communism? No one is starved. Everyone is happy actually. This is the situation actually. That's why Prabhupada also says no. When for every ISKCON temples, eh, I think maybe 10-kilometer radius, no one should be hungry actually. This is also another statement that why one should be happy. Vedic communication. By the Lord's mercy, everyone will be happy. There is enough food, enough prasadam. Prasadam has to be distributed to see that people should not be hungry, should not starve. So Prithu Maharaj's kingdom is like this actually. This is what is this Prabhupada has given with all this present day understanding. How the present day ruling and how the Prithu Maharaj's ruling is actually. And how the people present day's rulers are unfit, unworthy of post. Even Prabhupada tried also at those who are sitting on the MPs and all, they should. He has given the formula also. Remember that they should everyone should wear tilak, and this is also the vision of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And the higher post people should wear tilak, kantimala, should chant, follow the Vedic regulations. Then people will be happy actually, even in the democratic setup also. So, but people at those who are in a leadership position should follow this actually. So, what is the religious principle we can draw or learn from this discussion? We can draw. So, these things are okay. What was Prithu Maharaj ruling? What is present day rulings? But what we can learn from this? That is also we have to understand that. So, one should learn, or we say get trained, how to become gratefully obedient servant of the Lord. That is our understanding of all the discussion. Anyone who is grateful and gratefully obedient servants of the Lord, he will be happy, he will make others happy actually. This is there. By following the instructions of saintly persons and brahmanas actually. So, the root cause of suffering is ungratefully disobedience to the Lord. Not only disobedience, ungratefully. That is that ungratefully means the disease is that the development of asuya towards Lords. This Yamunacharya, the great says, Asuya prasavabhu kritagno durmani smara paravasa vanchanapara nisansa papistha. This is the order he gives that how this ungratefulness develops actually. Asuya prasavabhu. Asuya, the enviousness toward the Lord, not accepting the authority of the Lord is the root cause which generate a prasavabhu, which delivers or generate or produces. What produces? Kritagno, ungratefulness. Durmani, demanding respect. Smaraparavasa, slave of senses. Vanchanapara, cheaters. Smarapara, nisansa, cruel. Papista, the best among the sinner. These are the product of not accepting the authority or becoming envious of the authority of the Lord. These are all the outcomes actually. Is there actually. So, how to get rid of this tendency actually? So, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, that is Sankirtan movement, is for this very purpose of eradicating this tendency of ungratefulness, disobedience, and and by getting rid of this and getting increasingly happiness, actually, Anandam Buddhivardhanam. That is the purpose of this Sankirtan movement. First, to accept the authority of the Lord, and Adi has given the the purpose of Sankirtan movement is to give this only actually, and and making others also happy by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare, and following Sikshastakam. That's all. This is the one focus. Simply chanting Hare Krishna means accepting the authority and accepting that we are servant of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam saranam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashami. You please surrender to me. And when the same Sri Krishna comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya, it is how to be a servant. That's all. There he says, you become servant. He says, how to become servant. This is the difference between Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Krishna. Same Lord Krishna is one place asking to surrender and become servant. Here he is training how to become that, how to means follow that sloka, Sarva Dharman. He is teaching that. So, he is teaching how to become dutifully grateful, gratefully dutiful, and gratefully truthful. Dutifully grateful, gratefully truthful, and gratefully dutiful, gratefully surrender, and gratefully obedient, and become truly grateful person actually. This is the way Sikshastakam is teaching to us. And this way first we have to become non-envious. Then whatever still our tendencies are there not to serve properly, then become properly obedient. First, remove the enviousness. All these explanation of all communism, dialectical communism, all these democracy, whatever form is there, capitalism, all these are enviousness to the Lord. Not only they are disobedient, they are envious first, and then over and above, then disobedient. Both are there actually. So first we have to remove that. We accept the authority of the Lord. Then we have to remove the tendency of doership mentality and fruitive mentality, selfish mentality, and all this. That is the second part of becoming a true obedient person of the Lord. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, so how to be non-envious? Tranadapi sunisena tarorapi saisnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. That's the position that we become grateful person. Actually, non-envious. Because ungratefulness is the product of envy. Asuya prasavabhu. Actually. And then we have to become gratefully dutiful. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagati sakam. Again, non-enviously dutiful. Then, gratefully surrender. Mama janmani janmanisware bhavatad bhaktir ahetuki tvaye. This actually. And then we have to become gratefully obedient. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitamam. That I am fallen, I am not able to become proper obedient servant of you. So please, I am fallen. Please be merciful upon me to become obedient. For that, first we have to give up the envy actually. Without giving up envy and we try to become servant, then it's not proper, because that will again make us disobedient. This is the problem of this present day, is they are also want to be obedient. To whom? Their mental speculations, mental authorities. They just like Prabhupada says, no, Karl Marx here, and there is a Max Muller also. He has also wrote on Vedas. He has also wrote many books, 50 books. There are in every town of the India is a Max Muller Bhavan. But what did he do? He has not accepted the authority of Lord and wrote on Vedas. And they follow that we are the authority. They follow the false authority, and that said, we are following the authority. They create the false authority. Creating false authority means they're product of false ego, actually. And they become the victim of this false authority, actually. This tendency is not at that higher level. This tendency is there at every level, actually. That is called eh, smara paraso vanchana para. Therefore, defects are there in the human, actually. That is vipralipsa. This is called vipralipsa. Brahma pramad karna patva vipralipsa. This cheating mentality, this is flourishing. Actually, by this cheating mentality, all this flourishes. Even a person who is obedient, and he shows that he is obedient not to Lord, but to his own authorities, whatever he created authorities. So, Prithu, so this way, how to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu give us the opportunity to become truly grateful. Nayanam galadasrudharaya vadanam gadgaruddhayagira. Become anandambudhi vardhanam, like this, actually. So Prithu Maharaj is situated because he is Lord. That's why on the highest transcendental platform. And by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabhupada, and Purvacharyas, we have been given this opportunity to follow in their footsteps, to become gratefully obedient servant of Krishna. That is the perfection of life. So, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, what says? Become Guru and preach. So, becoming Guru means responsible position. So one wants to be in responsible position, then he has to be first gratefully obedient servant of the Lord, and then make, because unless we become as a devotee happy, we cannot make others happy. That what we can learn from this. And because and Prithu Maharaj and Kumaras discussing this, because they are highly elevated personalities, and by their mercy we can also become a gratefully obedient person. Thank you very much. Please forgive me if I have spoken something beyond my authority. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Any remarks?
Are naturally, by virtue of the Varnashram Dharma, eligible to rule the kingdom, whereas the Brahmanas are not uh, involved in the management of the affairs of the state. They are concerned with their other duties, Brahminical duties, enlightenment of the public in general, and guidance of the Kshatriyas, but they are not directly involved in the administration of the state, if I'm not wrong. Just like the Chanakya Pandit, he was the advisor to the king Chandragupta, and he was living in a small hut near the palace, and he was not directly involved in any administration, only giving some advice uh, to the king. So here it seems that the Maharaj Prithu is giving everything to the Brahmanas for administrating the state according to this sloka. But that is not the natural disposition of the Brahmanas to take over the kingdom in that manner. So my question is, how far this situation is correct?
Actually, with whatever my understanding, that is the correct method, that Kshatriyas who are in passion has to rule by taking the guidance from saintly persons and Brahmana who are in the mode of goodness. And as you said that uh, I am, if I understood properly, he is offering everything to Brahmanas. Your question I want to understand more clearly. The first part I understand, this is the part.
Yeah, the point I wanted to clarify, he is giving the rulership of the kingdom. He is telling that only those who are Brahmanas are qualified to rule the kingdom. They are qualified to be commander-in-chief of the army. They are qualified to chastise in this manner. Only those who know the Vedic principles and then only the Brahmanas and saintly persons are qualified. But the Varnashram system presents a different picture, that the duty of the Brahmanas is not to rule the kingdom, but to give advice only on certain matters.
Just by following the instructions of Brahmanas, actually rulers are Kshatriyas, but following the instruction of Brahmana, that rule kingdom is ruled by Brahmanas. Directly they are not ruling, they are not interested in rule. They are interested in guiding only. But they are following the advice of Brahmana, so the rule is also as per Brahmanas. If suppose now Prithu Maharaj is offering everything to Brahmanas, they are not accepting. I don't want actually. They want to give only the advice actually. So this is the defect in the system everywhere. Here, everywhere, every system. Rule has to be done by Varnashram, a Kshatriya only, under the instructions of Brahmana. So that has input of goodness also in Kshatriya. And they are ready to offer everything to Brahmana, but the Brahmanas are not ready to accept anything because they live by their austerity. So there's the true Brahmanas are there and true Kshatriyas are there. Things will be different. Actually, this is what it is. So actually, the rule has to be, that's why Prabhupada says now, we have to become Brahmanical culture. Even as we have to preacher, actually preaching is somewhat required passion. Brahmanas are interested in sitting one place, chanting, taking prasadam, and now it's okay, those who comes, then they do. But where from this passion comes? The spirit of passion is also required, but is to be directed under the Brahmanas. If it is independent of Brahmanas, then the Varnashram is not saying that only Kshatriya will rule. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. This is a hierarchy is there, that Shudra should be under Vaishya, Vaishya has to be under Kshatriya, Kshatriya has to be under Brahmanas. Ultimately, head has to rule actually, not the. But actually, ruling means we require hands, all this passion. But head should not be missed actually. There should be, the guidance should be from the head actually. This is a Varnasram. This is my understanding. This is okay? Is there anything you please add?
In the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions dialectical communism and also Vedic communism. Can you elaborate a little bit?
Yes. So dialectical communism means the Karl Marx has taken the two vicharas from the European, this I don't know much about because, but he has means not one philosophy, one different thought like that and mixed and come with that they are the well-wisher for all the people and without accepting the authority of Lord. This is the Karl Marx, that's the dialectual. Vedic communism, we accept the first authority of the Lord, and by the mercy of Lord we are getting, and we are distributing to everyone, to them we are also making happy. But first is linking to the authority. That authority is missing in dialectual communism. That is called godless society. This is with God-centered society, Vedic communism. Okay. Is there anything? Shall we stop now? Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam.